Hello and welcome to my review of the Barclays Premier League. This is the 15th week. All 10 fixtures have just been played, and yikes, there have been some cracking games. A couple of upsets and really a lot of fantastic goals, but you'd expect nothing less from the Barclays Premier League. So the first game that actually took place in this week was at Old Trafford, where the first upset happened. It was Manchester United going down to Newcastle United 1-0, and really it was quite a surprising win. No one expects Newcastle to go over there and convincingly beat Manchester United, and you can tell that by looking at the history books, because this was Newcastle's first win since 1972. So it just tells you what a bit of a rut Manchester United are in right now. However, Newcastle, they obviously had a plan. Alan Pardew's tactically a very good manager, and he obviously had a plan that was to sit back, condense the midfield, and Newcastle really looked organised defensively, and they did extremely well to execute their plan before the game. And it just showed Manchester United really couldn't do anything. They did have a couple of chances throughout the game. The best one was when RVP did put the ball into the back of the net, but it was deemed offside, and it was a correct decision as well. And Newcastle's goal just came through Patrice Evra, a mistake. It led to a ball that came from Moussa Sissoko into the box, and Yohan Cabaye was there to finish it and put it away, and just left the Toon Army absolutely happy. And again, it was their first win since 1972, so it's over 30 years. It's been what an absolute achievement for Newcastle United, and for Manchester United, I think that they have to just continue to pick up the pieces, and they have to move on very quickly, because if they continue to look back at all these poor defeats that they've conceded over this campaign, they'll really be kicking themselves that they let these games get away from them. At Selhurst Park, it was Crystal Palace getting a nice, comfortable 2-0 home win against Cardiff City. It is the second win for Tony Pulis, who's the manager of Crystal Palace, and really I think that Palace are now playing with some confidence. It was their first back-to-back win in this campaign for Crystal Palace, and it just showed the way that they played. They moved the ball quite well, and they got their strikers, really involved in the hold-up and link-up play. For Cardiff City, though, looking on the not-so-good side, they're winless in 5 games, and really they are starting to slip down the table. And after Malky Mackay's and his side's great efforts in a couple of opening weeks in the Premier League, they're actually now starting to come back down to earth. And I think it'll only get worse, because we're in the month of December, and that's the key time for these newly promoted teams. But for this game, Palace really pressured the Cardiff defence. They had very good chances. Cameron Jerome and Marouane Chamakh were the goal scorers, and overall it was just a very good win by Crystal Palace, and ones that their fans will be hoping for many more in the upcoming fixtures. At Anfield, it was a goal fest, but it was more or less an own goal fest, where Liverpool defeated West Ham 4-1. As I said, it was a match of own goals. There was 3 own goals out of the total of 5, and really Liverpool did totally dominate the match, especially in the midfield, where the likes of Joe Allen, Raheem Sterling on the left, Jordan Henderson, Steve Gerrard, they were just feeding the balls into the front 2 players, whether it have been Coutinho and definitely Suarez, and it just gave West Ham a lot of trouble. They couldn't defend, and I think Sam Allardyce has to have a couple of harsh words to his players, because they're not really stepping up to the expectation in which they should be. The only bit of concern for Liverpool, even though they did win, was the captain Steve Gerrard. He came off during the match. I'm not sure whether it's a hamstring or a groin injury. However, that being said, if Liverpool continue to play like they have been, and they've been flying over the past couple of weeks, then I don't see why they need Gerrard in the not-too-distant future. So, if the Reds continue to play like this, they're a definite title contender. At St Mary's, it was Southampton and Manchester City playing an all-even 1-1 draw. There was various chances in this game. Both sides, are extremely well placed in the table and both have good quality players. But for Southampton, it was more or less a better result for them because they have an injury-hit team right now. Nathaniel Klein hurt his pelvis during the week, and Wanyama's out with he broke some type of bone, and they have a couple of players that are out as well. And coming up, against a full-powered Manchester City team, it was a fair effort to the Saints. The scorer for Manchester City, you guessed it, was Sergio Aguero again. But for Southampton, their forwards, Jay Rodriguez, Lallana, and indeed Pablo Osvaldo, they did look very lively. And it was in fact Pablo Osvaldo that got the equaliser after a great individual effort that put the Manchester City captain Vincent Kompany on his butt and causing Southampton to equalise and get the point. It was a very good game and between two very even sides. At the Britannia, this was the second upset of the week. It was where Stoke City defeated Chelsea. That's right, defeated Chelsea 3-2. Again, it's a toss-up between Manchester United going down to Newcastle and Chelsea going down to Stoke. I think both are as bad as each other. But that being said, Chelsea did dominate the first half. Andre Schürrle did get a brace throughout the match. But for Stoke and Mark Hughes, they really must have changed their plans a lot at halftime because they didn't improve, and they got an equaliser through Stephen Ireland off a nice bit of play by Peter Crouch. And after that, the game just really opened up. Both teams were at 2-2 at this stage and trying to get that winner. And as the game opened up, the ball came down to Asuma Saidi on loan to Stoke, and he just danced in from the left wing, cut inside, and unleashed an absolute thunderbolt from 25 yards out, leaving Peter Cech with no chance and guaranteeing Chelsea. Well, they guaranteed Chelsea 0 points, but Stoke got the 3 points for this victory. And a little bit of a stat here is that this is Mourinho's first Premier League loss in the month of December, so Stoke can really hold their heads up high in that regard, as they got a really good home win against definitely a title contending team. At the Hawthorns, it was West Bromwich Albion going down to Norwich City 2-0. For Bromwich, it wasn't a matter of that they played poorly. It was just a matter of that they didn't convert their missed opportunities. Stefan Sessegnon had a couple of chances, as did Shane Long, but they really couldn't capitalise on the chances that they created, and therefore it left them exposed defensively, leaving Norwich to hit them on the counter-attack. And for Norwich and Chris Hughton, it was a good away win, and it does ease the pressure of Hughton, because if Norwich can go to these sort of places like the Hawthorns and get the 3 points or get an away point, that'll be really good for Norwich when the points start to total up near the end of the season. It all wasn't just breezy and easy for Norwich City. Ruddy, the goalkeeper, John Ruddy, did have to make a couple of good saves to keep his side ahead, but for as much as Bromwich had a lot of possession, they couldn't score any goals, and for that they're actually, right now, Steve Clarke's men are starting to slip down the table. At the Stadium of Light, it was Sunderland and Gus Poyet going down to Tottenham Hotspur 2-1. Again, unlucky for the Black Cats, it was another own goal, and they just really can't find that bit of luck to secure, a win or a really hard-fought point. For Tottenham, they did create a lot of chances. It was really just shown through Jermaine Defoe hitting the woodwork twice. But as the game continued on, it really opened up, and I don't think Gus Poyet likes to play that type of game. He wants it more of condensed and a hard-fought, scrappy win. And it was just shown that it was bad for Sunderland, because as the game opened up, Tottenham really controlled the midfield and was able to press on and get the winner, which came through John O'Shea, which was the own goal there. And this gave them the 3 points, and really they're in touching distance of the top four. This is Tottenham, so if they continue to do this, they won't slip too far down from the top four. I don't think that they will in fact get in the top four, but as long as they're in that touching distance, then they should give themselves a chance. Now to Sunday's games. At Craven Cottage, it was Fulham, comprehensively, I must say, beating Aston Villa 2-0. Fulham, the way that they set up, structured, and defensively were set up. They were absolutely capable and really impressive there. Aston Villa are desperate for a win and for a good bit of luck to go their way, but for Paul Lambert's men, it just hasn't happened. Fulham really condensed the midfield, and when they played kind of played a variation of the 4-3-3 with Parker sitting the deepest in the midfield, didn't allow Aston Villa to, give the balls to Benteke and try and make those diagonal runs that are very effective for Aston Villa. For Villa, though, they did look a little bit threatening on the counter-attack, as most teams do, but Fulham, they look like the real deal. Stecklenburg did make a couple of worthy saves and ensured that Fulham Football Club did keep a clean sheet, but really, I must say, Aston Villa not doing so well for the Midlands club there, and Fulham, after sacking Marniol, look like the Fulham Football Club of old, so I hope this continues for them. It was quite an intriguing game, let's just say, at the Emirates, where Arsenal and Everton went on to play a 1-1 draw. Everton really, they surprised me as an Arsenal fan. In the first half, they dominated all facets of the game, and possession, the chances created, and the reason for this is Roberto Martinez had a plan. It's as simple as that. He had a plan, didn't let Wojciech Szczesny play out from the back. When Arsenal had the ball either in midfield, the Everton players would harass and swarm in packs amongst the Arsenal players, increasing the pressure and really pressing Arsenal up high in the pitch, and it didn't allow Arsenal to play their game at all, which was very disappointing. However, in the second half, and let's be honest, late on in the first half, Arsenal did fight back into the game. You started to see the game open up, and they did create a lot more chances, and this was capped off when Mesut Ozil scored a nice, kind of a scrappy goal, but a goal nonetheless in the 80th minute, and I thought that it was the winner there, and I thought, yes, Arsenal would get the 3 points and extend their lead to 7 at the top of the table, but it wasn't to be, because Kieran Gibbs and, let's be honest, Mikel Arteta had a bit of bad defending and caused the Barcelona loanee Gerard Deulofeu to score basically from the penalty spot, but to the right of it, and Wojciech Szczesny stood no chance, and that was the equalising goal, and basically they capped off a really even contest. Looking back, I'd say Arsenal were kind of unlucky to not get the 3 points, but it for me it kind of seemed a bit more of a loss draw, if that makes any sense, where I really thought that Arsenal could succeed the 3 points, but it's not all about Arsenal. Take nothing away from Everton. They played a really good match, and if they can continue to do this and continue to play against the big teams like the way they played against Arsenal, and I don't see why there's no reason that they can make the top 4, because they are a very, very good team. Don't make any mistake about that. And the final game took place Monday night over in England, or if you're in Australia like me, took place Tuesday morning, where it was Swansea at the Liberty Stadium drawing 1-1. It was another 1-1 draw with Hull City. Hull City, they did score early on, and it was Danny Graham, the former Swansea player, who scored against his old club. And for Swansea, they did get a boost before the game, as it was revealed that Michu was back, and his influence really ensured that Swansea dominated the possession. There's nothing new with that. But again, as I've said over many weeks, they dominated the possession, but they created little chances. The second half arrived, and as soon as it did, Swansea again controlled the possession, but this time they added more pressure to the Hull City defence, and they got a goal through Chico. However, they couldn't find that winning goal, and even Michael Laudrup post-game said it was kind of a scrappy affair, and it was really shown in the last couple of minutes when there was a lot of players getting booked for needless and unnecessary challenges, but that was just the type of affair it was at the Liberty there. So that is my review of all the games that took place this week in the Premier League. I hope your team won and progressed up the table. If not, there's always next week. We're nearing the halfway stage of the Premier League season, and in about a month, in less than a month's time, the January transfer window will come around. So that's the time and the opportunity for your side to go out and improve on your squad. And if your squad doesn't need improving, well, good luck for the second half of the season. But I will be back for my preview of next week's Barclays Premier League action, and there's some exciting fixtures in that, let me tell you. So I'll see you guys then. Stay safe. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.